Let's talk about lines. Lines are everywhere, all around us, and we use them every day. Every time you write your name, you are creating a line. And it has been said that a line is a dot that went for a walk. So anytime you make a mark, you are making some kind of line. Now, lines have many names and purposes. You have vertical lines, horizontal lines, thin lines, thick lines, slanted lines, and then any combination of these lines interacting together, such as intersections or cross lines or X marks. These are all also lines. In this lesson, we're going to talk about all the different straight lines and their names and purposes. So we have these worksheets that you can find in our freebie library at forgethimnot.com. Just put your email address in there and we will send you a password to the library where you can download the worksheets that are in this lesson. And we hope you have fun with them. All right, let's get started. Use this worksheet to draw the different names of lines that you see so that we can use them again to create patterns as we put them together. The second worksheet is for us to put each line in a box in maybe numbers of 3, 5, 7. We like the odd numbers. Anything more than 5 is just too much for us to count though. So we like the number 5. It's a fun pattern to work with. You can use 3, but sometimes in making designs or patterns, 3 is not enough to make an impact in your artwork. So 5 is a really good number. And what you want to do is take, say, the first one with the vertical straight line. And just in box number 1, make 5 straight lines vertically. And then horizontally, and then thin, thick, and you can see how the worksheet is going to play out here in this video. And this is to help us see that when you put lines together, lines side by side, and you repeat them, we begin to pick up patterns. And patterns are fun things to doodle in art. Now that we can see how lines work together to create patterns, we're going to figure out how we can use these in art and all the amazing things that lines and patterns will allow us to do. So grab another sheet of paper, and what we're going to do is we're going to create a couple of lines together, and then you can see there's spaces in between these two lines. And spaces are places that we can keep doodling. Doodling lines is kind of endless. You can just keep going and going and going. It just gets really smaller and smaller and smaller in the spaces. What we're going to do is let's do 5 lines vertically. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip, and then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just repeat that on down to your lines. Now in between where the 5 lines are, we have like a square plain white box, which is a space that we can place more lines. So look at your worksheet and look at the patterns that we have, and we can turn any line inside that area in a different direction. And now we can see how the lines are working together and filling in spaces to help us create something interesting. Now let's make some artwork using lines. Grab a sheet of paper, and this time you're going to make lines all across your paper in any direction. They can intersect, crisscross, it doesn't matter. Because what we're trying to do is find spaces that the lines leave behind. And in those spaces, that's places for you to do some of the different patterns that are on your worksheet with the boxes. And just start now putting different patterns together and see what you can do. Just fill this whole paper up with different straight lines using different patterns. All right, let's do it. The last worksheet in this lesson with lines is very, very near and dear to our heart. It is a Bible verse worksheet with the word helper on it so that you can fill in the word helper with different lines to help you remember what this Bible verse says. And it says, "So we say with confidence, 'The Lord is my helper. I will not be afraid. What can mere mortals do to me?'" And this is from Hebrews 13. And what we want you to do is to always remember that God is your helper. And that when we get anxious or scared, when we are afraid, we need to remember that we're not in this alone. We have a helper. And that helper is mighty and strong. He is the creator of the world and you. And that you are made in his image. And part of that is the ability to also be creative. So in your artwork, in your doodling time, just sit back and think about all that he is and who he says you are, and that he is your helper. And I hope that brings you comfort. It does us. And sometimes in our art, we like to help each other. So you are not seeing double. I do not have two right hands. We are working on this together. So grab your family, get a friend, and start working on a worksheet together and have a combination art piece. We hope you had fun doodling lines with us today, and maybe you will use your artwork to be reminded that God is your helper.